Hey, what's up everyone? It's Ray Luzier from the band Korn. About 20 some years ago, I had a band called Army of Anyone, and it featured Robert and Dean DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots and Richard Patrick from Filter. I love that band. I'm very proud of that record. We had a song called Goodbye, and it was on the radio actually. It was the first single, and it had a drum solo vamp in it towards the end. And it was one of those spur of the moment kind of things. Bob Ezrin, the producer, and all the guys were in the room and said, just go for some kind of drum vamp. And I did one, and they said field goal, that was it. And I tried to do it better another 10, probably 15 times, and they picked the first one. So what you hear on the record is the very first take that I did. So I'm gonna break that down for you right now, kind of clarify some things. So the very first thing going into the actual drum vamp, actually let me back up a little bit and do the actual groove. It's a 16th bass pattern between the ride and hi-hat cymbals. So instead of doing a straight 16th on the hi-hats, I moved the right hand to the ride, and it sounds like this. So now, coming out of that pattern into the solo vamp, I do a fill like this. So slow, I'm just 16 note bass. I'm going. So straight 16th notes, just interspersed between the kick and the toms and the snare. Coming out of that, I'm going to go, this is a fill that's been used a lot of times. It's the first thing that came to my head. It sounded like this. Now this next fill, I'm going between the China and the snare drum with two kick drums. So it sounds like this. Now the next one, on the record, I went straight 16ths on the kick drums, and I kind of flammed them with the toms. So I went like this. The fourth solo vamp, I'm kind of doing this pattern kind of like that, against the quarter note. So I'm going snare, tom, tom, snare, snare, tom, and I'm putting kick drums in between that, so it sounds like this. So with the second round of the solo vamp, in the first four, I did between the snare and the China in the 16th note form. This is in triplet form, so it sounds like this. And then the next one is one of my favorites. It's going from 32nd notes to 16th notes. So the pattern sounds like this. Now, if you phrase that, between the toms and the snare and the kick drum, it sounds like this. So this last one is pretty much a doozy. It's a fill that I use a lot, and it kind of went over the bar line, which made it pretty cool. So it's a 4-stroke rough with a tap. So it sounds like this. Now, if you put kick drums in between that, it sounds like this. So now, orchestrating that on the kit, I started with the floor tom, I ascended and then I descended. And at the very end, I just ended it with triplets. So it sounds like this. So that's basically how that solo vamp went. And like I said, it was a completely improvised thing. I had to learn it. For the live show, I had to go back and go, okay, I need to really get this down and make it flow and make it sound good. And that's another example of just like building your vocabulary in your head. The more vocabulary you know, the more ideas you can pull out and do some different phrasings and mess with triplets to 16th notes and all over the kit orchestration. So have fun with it.